Hello and welcome to Experiencing Love. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here. I am late today, and for that, I apologize. I don't have a good reason. I don't have a good excuse. It's just the reality of my situation, and I need to accept the consequences, whatever they may be. I noticed something over these past few weeks, and it's this almost desire, I could call it. It's this inclination to not go to sleep early and not wake up early. I just tried to change it, and I wanted to be up for all the sunshine hours. My plan was to wake up at sunrise and go to sleep soon after sunset. It'd be a little bit of time, but just about 9 hours before sunrise was when I was planning to be in bed. I started to sleep more and more, which would just push my clock back later and later. I used to think it was because I was sleeping in the dark. So what I've started to do since then, for the past week or two now, is at sunrise, I have an alarm that wakes me up so that I can open my curtains and my blinds. I have blackout curtains, so normally I could sleep at whatever time I want. But when I open the windows, I literally have the sun shining on me, and yet I stay asleep. I don't know how much more evidence I need that my body just enjoys sleeping later into the morning. Granted, I'm not expressing all of the reasons here, but I've been playing around with this for a very long time now. I've been tracking different aspects of my sleep for years. For about 3 or 4 months now, I've even been tracking it using a Whoop sensor. I have data to show that I have a tendency to sleep later in the day. Where am I going with this? I have no clue. I don't even know if there's much value for you in me even talking about it. I guess the more important thing that I want to bring up is the idea, the concept, the practice of listen to your body. Listen to what it has to tell you and make the best decisions for you. I used to spend hours at a time trying to find what the one best way is. By that, I mean I was constantly looking for what's the best way for everyone, or for most people, to do a certain thing, to feel a certain way. It's taken a lot of time, and I'm realizing there is no best way. There is no universal way. I think there's best practices, and one of the best practices starts with listening, not being afraid to acknowledge how we feel. I listen to videos and podcasts, some about business, some about relationships and love, some that are just comedy. One thing I love to do is listen out for something that makes me react in some way. I don't want to say triggered because it's not always triggered. Sometimes it's great joy. Sometimes it's excitement. I guess what I'm saying is that I enjoy not living my life so passively. I enjoy living my life with more purpose, or should I say more intention. What am I really doing here? If I'm talking about living with intention, what's my intention? What is my goal? What do I want to achieve, really? I take in all this content about marketing and advertising and building products and testing it, sharing it, and I see a lot of value in the things that they say, the things that I'm consuming that are being taught to me, and those things are getting talked about because they've been tested. A majority of the time they work for people, and yet there's this fear that has stopped me from getting on board up until this point. I feel like there's so many things that I get told to do or that I get recommended to try, and yet I don't do them because there's that voice in me that just says, no, not this, not yet. I don't deny that those things work. There must just be this part of me that doesn't believe in the timing. It's not something that will get me closer to my goal faster. This does remind me of certain events that I've been a part of where I leave with 40 pages of front and back, cover to cover notes. And not just notes, but action steps. Things I want to implement into my life, implement into my business, implement into my relationships. And then I start to do some of those things. And I'm quickly met with the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the things on that list only move me about 20% of the way there. Conversely, 20% of the things on that list will move me 80% of the way there. It's even more likely that there's maybe 1 or 2 things that'll actually move the needle a majority of the way. That's what happens when I'm sifting through all this content and all the information coming my way. I realize that at least 80% of the things coming my way aren't worth pursuing. I could probably say the same thing about my content, which is at least 80% of the content that I make isn't worth pursuing. Let me extend that further. 80% of any of the content that people make isn't worth pursuing, or should I say implementing. Not for you and not right now. I believe a lot of content people put out there is useful at some point in our lives, but not all of it is all at once. Same goes for my stuff. With this podcast, and with my blogs, with my writing, with anything. It seems as though I am taking the numbers approach, the quantity approach. I think in the past I chose and attempted the quality approach, and the perfectionist tendencies I had just stopped me from doing anything really. Eventually, I'd worry so much about the quality that my quantity would reach zero. I wouldn't be putting anything out there. 80-20 rule. I would say 80% of the focus that I have on my work, on my content, on my creations, 80% is in quantity and 20% is in quality. Even though the quality is what'll get me 80% of the way there. I'm just playing the numbers game just to be here, just to keep myself accountable. Because I also know that over time, the quality of this show will get better and better. I will have more resources. I will have more stamina. I'll have more creativity. I have so many plans for the work that I do here, the people that I want to talk to, the conversations that I want to have. I have to do more work on myself than I do on anything else. More than on any job, more than on any relationship, more than on any goal or dream. Because everything that I want in my life starts with me and who I am. The fears I do not face become my limits. I am my identity. I need to have more conversations. I find that my best thoughts, my best episodes, my best content comes as a result of, as an output of having conversations, spawning the dialogue. There's many days where I find myself too isolated. I don't do enough to be out in the wilds of society and public life. I wonder what I'll think of myself a year from now. I'll be listening to this, and from now until then, I'll have 365 days worth of experiences. A little message to my future self. I hope you're doing everything that I can only imagine right now. I hope you have the people in your life that you love to be around. And I really hope you're proud of yourself for how far you've come. You may not be at the finish line yet. No, you are far from it. But just remember where I am right now and where you are. And know that you've traveled a great distance to get there. Do it again for me. Travel that distance just one more time. See what can happen with just one more day. I know it's in you because it's in me now. Thank you all for listening, for being here, for supporting me. It means more than you know to have anyone in your life, anyone watching your journey. You are appreciated. Remember to always fill up with the love, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I love you.